Today, Jose Aldo is set to make his return from retirement at UFC 301 against Jonathan Martinez. Looks like Dana White put up the bat signal and Jose Aldo, the king of Rio, answered. And how about Francis Ngannou on the MMA Hour and his thoughts on his fight with Anthony Joshua? Interesting enough, will he ever set foot in a PFL cage? Also, what about Conor McGregor, the King of Snow, back in the saddle, possibly this June, possibly making an announcement about that today on the MMA Hour? All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. Your boy Matt back in the house. We're going to go ahead and go over a couple of the news topics, little news that went down over the last week or so, maybe a little bit more. Let's start out with the top of the bill. We're going to start with the King of Snow, Conor McGregor, is set to set foot on the MMA Hour stage, so to speak, on the MMA Hour show with Ariel Helwani. And, you know, that's going on later on today, but it's been rumored that Conor McGregor is going to announce that him and Michael Chandler are going to step in the octagon this June. And if you give me a second, I believe I have the date that that possibly, it's just possibly, hypothetically, might be stepping in the octagon Saturday, June the 29th. Here's the deal. I've spoken about this before on my channel. I'm going to just bring it up again. Bro, if Conor is able to pull this off, this man, while, you know, yeah, he beats up old men inside of bars, all right? Yeah, he's got plenty of questionable run-ins with women and accusations against him, including kind of hefty women at Miami Heat basketball games. But nevertheless, bro, what I find to be the most interesting thing about Conor as far as his intelligence in the fight game is, you know, yeah, he might be the King of Snow and he might have a lot of things going on in his personal life. But what if he pulls this off? What he did was he got Michael Chandler to set out for like 2 to 3 years almost, totally, of his career, not take another fight, not do anything other than chase a fight with Conor McGregor. And that makes Michael Chandler 1 to 2 years older than the last time he fought, probably close to 3. You know, he's still been training off and on throughout this time because he never knows when Conor is going to be ready for a fight, and he wants to be ready for it. So with that being said, you're talking about a dude that's put a lot of wear and tear on his body over the last 2 years or so, just trying to stay ready for whenever Conor's going to, you know, hit up Dana and be like, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, bro, on top of that, you know, Michael Chandler, while he's found other avenues to earn money, you know, outside of fighting, it's not the type of money, of course, Conor's earning. So he also has had to go out and find other ways to make money to support his family. So with all of that being said, I find that so interesting. And right now the fight is being billed as a middleweight bout. He's still trying to stick to he's going to fight at middleweight. Now, I'm not sure if it's actually going to go down at middleweight, but that also makes Michael Chandler jump up 2 weight classes to go fight this man at 185 pounds. Now, it ain't like, you know, Michael Chandler's not, you know, a big, bulky kind of guy, so to speak. But at the same time, when you're jumping up 2 weight classes, you know, it don't matter if you've been off for 2 or 3 years. Your frame is meant to fight at certain weight classes. So if you're jumping up 2 weight classes to fight Conor at 185, that might not be your optimal weight. You know what I'm saying? That might be you with a lot of extra water weight on you and maybe a little extra fat weight. I mean, it ain't like Michael Chandler's ever going to come in flabby, but still. So Conor has put a lot of a lot of opposition against Michael Chandler to be able to go up and have this fight. So this is going to be very interesting to see. I'm not even sure this is what the man is going to announce today on Ariel's show, but I have a feeling that's probably what he's going to bring up or probably what he's going to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to see how it's going to play out. But, and even with all of this being said, I'm still not sure Conor beats Michael Chandler at 185 pounds after a 2 or 3 year layoff for Michael Chandler, because we know it's been a longer layoff for Conor. I'm not sure if he still goes out there and beats Michael Chandler. But what's intelligent about this is that he's literally designing a fight that is completely in his corner and in his favor and against Michael Chandler. So it does somewhat even the playing field a little bit more. Even though Michael Chandler has been extremely active up until Conor basically pulled him out of the sport for 2 or 3 years. But it's still, you know, it's like Conor's even the playing field. Because Michael Chandler's been out here fighting the best in the world. Conor's been in one of his mansions fighting the best of his nose. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like, bruh, this is about as good as it's gonna get for Conor to keep trying to level the playing field and to go in there and fight a notable guy. Otherwise, Conor would have to go in there and fight some unknown guy. So we're gonna see how it's gonna play out. We're gonna see if that's what Conor's gonna announce. You know, we'll find out. But I have a feeling, you know, due to the little rumblings, you know, heard it through the grapevine, if you will, that's probably what he might be leaning toward. Let's move from Conor McGregor over to the King of Rio, Jose Aldo. So, UFC 301 is set to go down in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And right now, on the slate, they put the bat signal up. You know what I'm talking about? They put in some phone calls. Dana White hit up Jose and said, Jose, it's your boy Dana from Boston. I need you, bro. Name your price. I need you. You know what I'm saying? And Jose Aldo is set to come out of retirement, probably only for this one fight, I guess. Unless he goes out there and blows the doors off of Jonathan Martinez. Then I can see the UFC being like, well, actually, we kind of want to do Jose Aldo and Sean O'Malley. So let's make this happen. Marab, I'm sorry, but you got to chill for a little while. Because we want Jose versus Sean, and we might set that in Brazil. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. Jose Aldo is set to come out of retirement. He's going to face Jonathan Martinez in Brazil. Now, for me, a major part of me is extremely happy about this because I'm a huge Jose Aldo fan. I always was. He's my favorite bantamweight of all time. I'm sorry, not bantamweight, featherweight. He is my featherweight GOAT. I know that, you know, Alexander Volkanovski has, you know, done tremendous things at featherweight. I know Max Holloway has done tremendous things at featherweight. And both men have beaten Jose Aldo. But you just had to be there. If you know, you know. And the run that Jose Aldo was on, the length of time that he held the title, the dominance that he displayed. Granted, I know athletes get better over time. This is a better crop of athletes that Max Holloway has faced and that Volkanovski has faced. So I'm not taking that nothing away. These are better athletes. These are more well-rounded fighters. But Jose Aldo was that dude until he ran into the King of Snow, Conor McGregor. That I'm still devastated over that. I'm still devastated that fight ended so quickly and Jose didn't get to show the world that he was better than Conor. Nevertheless, Jose's set to come back out of retirement. And part of me is extremely happy about this. Part of me is kind of like, ooh. Kind of like, oh boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he's set to face Jonathan Martinez, and Jonathan Martinez ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Martinez is not a joke at all. He's coming fresh off a win as well. And, you know, he presents a lot of interesting skills against Jose Aldo. You know, Jonathan Martinez is sneaky with his submissions. He's developing really tricky stand up. You know what I'm saying? So it should be interesting. Now, with that being said, Jonathan Martinez is not your greatest takedown artist or your greatest wrestler, and we all know Jose Aldo has really, really good takedown defense, as was displayed against Dusty Marab there in Utah at above sea level. You know what I'm saying? Even though Dusty Marab was doing his best constantly trying to take Jose to the ground, Jose was holding his own back up against the cage, back up against the wall. You know what I'm talking about? Trying to keep Marab off of him. Nevertheless, dude, I'm really excited about Jose making this return, but I could also be devastated if he goes in the octagon and he loses. You know, by decision is bad enough, but if he gets finished somehow by Jonathan Martinez, that would be horrible. But at the same time, it would still be a good send-off for Jose overall. You know, when you look at it, I mean, the man's nickname is he's the King of Rio. You know what I'm talking about? And anytime you've watched Brazilian members of MMA media, when you see that, you can see what Jose Aldo actually meant to people in Brazil and what he meant to that country. You know what I'm saying? When you can just tell that he's definitely a man of the people. You know what I'm saying? So it should be very interesting to see him go out there. I'm not making any picks. I'm not breaking it down just yet. But it could be good, and then it could be bad. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Jose Aldo coming out of retirement to try to save that card, because Lord knows, you know, gonna be a little bit rough in that main event. You know, main event that they've signed. Pantoja's going to defend his 125-pound championship against Usyk. You know, I like Usyk. Think he's a good fighter. You know, might be a little bit premature to get a title shot, but, you know, it kind of is what it is. We've seen crazier things in the past, especially at 125 pounds. When you do an entire season of The Ultimate Fighter and say the winner's going to get a title shot against Demetrius Johnson, things get a little bit crazy. You know what I'm talking about? So, you know, we'll see how all that plays out. Shout out to Jose Aldo, you know, featherweight GOAT. We'll see how it goes down. Also, this fight is going to be at bantamweight, if I didn't mention that. So this should be interesting to see. And Jose Aldo obviously is going to get paid. You know what I'm talking about? You know, Dana, like I said, probably didn't give him a blank check and say fill in a number, but it was probably close to a situation like that. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Jose Aldo. Shout out to Uncle Dana for making this happen. So let's move on from current UFC fighters. Let's move over to Big Frank the Tank, Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou was on the MMA Hour on Monday speaking with Ariel. And he had a lot of interesting things to say about his fight with Anthony Joshua. And so this is what was interesting. Is, for one, he says that after he took that first punch that dropped him in round one, he doesn't remember anything else after that in the fight. Memories didn't come back to a little bit later on. That's very interesting that Joshua floored him like that. I will say that the interview wasn't necessarily an interview of a lot of excuses at all. However, Francis did say that he wasn't happy with the fact that he had an early call time on fight day where he had to be in the arena, all, you know, not necessarily ready to make the walk yet, of course, but he had to be in the arena, I believe, 2 to 3 hours earlier than Anthony Joshua needed to be. I mean, that's not necessarily, he wasn't saying that was the reason why he lost the fight or anything, but he did find that to be kind of annoying because, you know, he would have rather have been in, you know, wherever they had him staying at, which, I mean, you know, dealing with Saudi Arabia, I'm sure they had the man in, you know, a palace. You know what I'm saying? Homie chilling with his family in a palace. I'd want to be chilling a few more hours in the palace too before I try to head over to the fight. You know what I'm saying? So he did speak about that was annoying that Joshua didn't have to be there as early as he needed to be there. And he said it was kind of like that for most of the promotion throughout that fight week. So, that's kind of interesting. But I will say he didn't really sound like he was making a lot of excuses, but he did say that he didn't really feel switched on in the fight. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really feel like he was completely there. And he, mentioned that to his coach, Eric Nixick. You know what I'm saying? Nixick, I should say. So, very interesting, his mentality. Ariel, was asking him, was this his biggest payday? Which he kind of just looked at Ariel like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. And kind of worded it in a way, every year I get older, so that means every year my age goes up. So every time I fight, my fight number goes up. I thought that was pretty cool of Francis, for him to kind of play it out like that. So that was interesting to see. He did have a good conversation with Ariel when asked where he was going to go from here. He, if you go back and you check my video that I did about who Francis Ngannou's next opponent's going to be, it's in my video about PFL versus Bellator that I did a couple videos back. Bro, your boy Matt told y'all don't want to listen to the kid from Louisville, Kentucky, but the kid told y'all that the man is not getting ready to fight anytime soon for no PFL. It ain't going to be Ferreira. It ain't going to be Ryan Bader. You ain't going to be able to drag old Fedor out of retirement. It ain't getting ready to happen, bro. He's not getting ready to step in that smart cage no time soon. You know what I'm saying? Because he spoke to Ariel about, he thinks that he's looking at his next fight is probably going to be in boxing. He wants to kind of continue where he was the trajectory that he was already setting for himself, the path he was already setting for himself in boxing. So once again, PFL's Don Davis takes yet another loss. You lost Kayla Harrison, and again, Francis Ngannou's not getting ready to come fight some rando that just went out there and laid waste to Ryan Bader's PFL dreams. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bruh, he's not getting ready to go out there and possibly, I would definitely pick Francis Ngannou, 7 days out the week to go in there and beat the brakes off Ferreira. However, what if he goes in there, fresh off a loss in boxing, probably hasn't done the most MMA training that he's done in his career in the past. He hasn't been doing that. He's been doing boxing training. You know what I'm saying? That man ain't been scrambling, sprawling for takedowns and stuff. And although Ferreira's game might be to go in there and knock him out on the feet, what if Ferreira just is in the lab training to go in there and take Ngannou down and choke him out real quick? You know what I'm saying? So we will see, but sounds like Francis Ngannou is not stepping in a PFL cage anytime soon. Sounds like he's looking toward another boxing match. He even kind of brought up Tyson Fury. He could be looking at a rematch with Tyson Fury. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Fury would ever do that. Maybe he'll be a little bit more enticed now that he's seen him take that L to Joshua. But we'll see. He was very complimentary of Anthony Joshua, So that's cool. No bad blood between those two. And overall, man, it was just good to see. Good to see Big Frank the Tank, Francis Ngannou, still living his life, doing well. 20 million up off of his last fight. I believe 10 to 11 million up off of his Fury fight. So, shout out to him, man. He's definitely getting to the bag. Definitely doing his thing. Always good to see Big Frank the Tank, Francis Ngannou. So we will see if he will go and take that fight in the PFL before he steps back into a boxing ring. So we'll see how all that goes down. Nevertheless, man, we cruise on. We move forward. We got UFC Apex, UFC Vegas 89 going down this Saturday. Rose Namajunas stepping in there against Amanda Ribas. So we will see how that plays out. And like I said, man, your boy Matt will drop right back in with you tomorrow. We're going to see what Conor's going to, what news he's going to break to Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour today. So, we'll check all of that out. Just wanted to drop in, talk with you all. Also, be on the lookout. Your boy got a video coming about what is probably going to be the dumpster fires of all dumpster fires, being Mike Tyson stepping in a boxing ring with Jake Paul. So we're going to, I'm going to be giving you a few early takes on that. That's coming up soon too. So that's just a smorgasbord of dumpster fire right there. So we'll see how that goes on, man. So nevertheless, I appreciate you guys for joining me for another one of these videos. I want to thank you for continuing to watch your boy. Please like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think. And I do want to thank you for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace. Go Ravens.